You know, I had this idea that it was just going to pan out.
There's this thought of if you have a college education, you're going to get a job.
You're going to get a job. This is just what happens. You know, they tell you this when you graduate high school, and, you know, you're going to go out there, and if you go to college, you'll be successful.
I think those days are kind of long gone. They're past. A diploma is no longer a guarantee for a job, and I think that colleges and universities are still sort of stuck in this, I don't know what you would call it, sort of a bubble of they just provide you with a degree and the rest will kind of come to you.
And I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think that's necessarily the case.
This is a story we're told as children. The story says that if you make good grades in school, then you'll do well on the SAT, which will get you into a good college. If you go to a good college and make good grades, then you will get a good job. If you get a good job, then you'll make good money, and then you'll be happy. But does it work that way? Is school really worth it? And if we don't go to college, what is the alternative? To help me answer these questions, I turned to some of my classmates here at the University of Texas at Dallas. The first question I asked, is college worth it?
I think it depends on how you mean. Like, when I look back on my life in 20 years, am I going to think this is worth it? Or like, you know, right now, is it worth it? And I think in the long run, for me personally, I don't know how much it's worth it. Because I feel like you spend all this money and you spend all this time, and people graduating right now are not even getting jobs with those degrees.
I think college is worth it. I think that's a really interesting question because we live in such an information age where you really can get on Wikipedia and look up algebra and calculus and things like that. I definitely would say that college is worth it, though, for me. Part of that has to do with my area of study, which is emerging media and communications, and so the people that I meet here, the professors that I meet here, it's such a cutting-edge field that the people that you know are just as important as the things that you're learning.
So far, no. It hasn't panned out for me so far. I graduated December 2009 and from Texas Tech with honors, and I was in an honor society, so I was involved. I worked really hard. You know, I had this idea that it was just going to pan out.
I believe college was worth it in the aspect that the people I met through college, my fellow students and stuff, were connections that I wouldn't have made anywhere else. As for what I learned in college, a lot of the stuff that I take in my workforce now and what I do for work is stuff that I learned myself, what I did while I was here at college. So even if I didn't learn it directly through the program, it's all stuff that I've learned through my experiences here, working for campus and stuff like that. So short answer, I think yes, college was worth it for me.
Is college worth it? I think it is in one regard, but it's not in another. If you're learning something technical like engineering, architecture, video, then you should go to college and you should learn how to do that. And yeah, if it is like trade school and you are learning a specific skill set, go to college. If you are doing business administration, if you're doing marketing, if you're doing advertising, then I think it's debatable. Personally, if I had to do it over again and doing the program I did, if I could have all that money back, living expenses and just straight up college tuition, then yeah, I would not go to college and I would do things a whole lot differently. So.
Perhaps there is no simple answer to the question, is college worth it? Worth it or not, however, there's no denying that college is expensive, both money and time.
How much is school? How much does school cost? What was tuition?
According to the University of Texas at Dallas, the cost of tuition, expenses, books, room, and board is a little under $88,000 for all 4 years. 120 credit hours translates into just over 1,900 hours in a classroom. This leads to my next question. If you had all that money and time you spent on college, what would you do with it?
I think the time here, I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. The time I spent here at college is something that I will never forget. I was really involved. I was really active here on campus. So I met a lot of people, and I had a great time when I was there on campus. If I had a lump sum, I would spend it on college, because even though I did learn a lot of the stuff myself, there was a lot of things that you can't learn from not being here. It's the experience here. It's what I paid for. It wasn't necessarily for education.
First, I take care of my family. Because we have so much to pay off, it's not even funny. Just because, everybody has their stuff they're dealing with. Nobody really has a lot to spare right now except for time. Because money definitely can't be spared. And so I take care of anything that we needed first. But with all that free time and money, I'd be a little undecided once again between my selfish pleasure, because I've always wanted to travel and to go certain places. So I would definitely want to do that. But then there's other things that I wanted to contribute to. For instance, I'm a fan of an organization called Bloodwater Mission, and they build clean water wells and AIDS crisis centers and such in sub-Saharan Africa. And they hope to expand, but just to address the one place is no small task. And I get to do my small little contribution, but there's really not all that much I can do besides, promote them, tell others about them, hope that they contribute, and every once in a while donate money or buy a product or whatever the case might be. So I might say travel there and go and actually be hands-on involved in that process of the building and such, and just kind of live outside of my comfort zone for a little while.
If I had it over again, if my parents were like, I graduated from high school, here's $60,000 and here's 4 years of your life, yeah, I would have gone and figured things out. And I'm so hesitant to say that because I know I wasn't mature enough at the time. But that's the other thing, like, why should parents, whoever, pay for a kid to go mature during this time? And maybe there are kids that are more mature. I didn't know them, so I don't know.
Before I was an EMAC major, I wanted to be a musician. I still am a musician now, but I wanted to be a rock star, kind of. I wanted to go to school for music, and that was definitely a thought that had crossed my mind of, well, what if I just don't go to school and I just sort of make this happen? And that's kind of a personal story with me, sort of my journey with that, because I kind of ended up finding out that music wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to pursue as a career. And then I sort of found EMAC kind of randomly, and it just turned out to be a really good fit. And so my process in getting to where I am now wasn't as long and drawn out as some people have. And again, I think that there's so many students that don't know what they want to do. Taking that time, that money, and focusing them in one area would be awesome if you sort of knew what you wanted to do. And I think there's not the people that know what they want to do in such a way that they could take 4 or 5 years of their life and however much tuition costs them, devote that to a job. Like, those people are few and far between, but they're also the people that have done that, kind of.
So is college worth it? It depends on who you ask. There does not seem to be a single definitive answer to this question. Perhaps expanding this project, interviewing more people with other experiences, might uncover different answers and different possibilities. There are, however, options other than college. College isn't the only path to gain an education and prepare for a career. Trade schools, entrepreneurial endeavors, volunteer work are all legitimate alternatives to college. However, these alternatives deserve the same amount of scrutiny and examination college does. A 10-minute documentary is not going to provide a definitive answer to a question as important and complex as whether or not you should attend college. At most, this video has simply begun a conversation.